Howdy. Welcome back to One Rental at a Time. I am here with Mike from Ephrata, and we are at the One Rental at a Time event at the Center for the Blind in Las Vegas in 2026. Mike and I were here in 2025 and 2024, so this is your third one here. Uh, where were you financially, like investing and everything, before finding one rental at a time?
I work in dirt. I say I'm as older than dirt. So I've had a lot of investing through a lot of years, and so I'm probably maybe 25% richer now than I was maybe 2 years ago.
Okay. And what did your portfolio look like before you found one rental at a time?
Actually, my strength is more in if you want to call it a superpower of I am able to take land and get entitlements to take it from raw land and make it more valuable by getting the entitlements for.
Okay. And in some of the interviews, people have said things like the Burr strategy or a rehab, and most of us know those terms. Explain to me, like I've never invested in real estate. You're talking to your nephew or somebody.
Okay.
What's an entitlement?
An entitlement is giving you permission to do something with a piece of property that didn't exist prior to you going through the process, whether it be in the county or the city. So taking something that has potential, but it hasn't gone through the process.
Okay, so not just the permits, but like the city saying we approve your overall plan.
And all the conditions that go with it.
Okay, cool. I'm way too lazy to do that myself. That sounds like
Takes a lot of patience, and there's a term that I came up with that still serves me today, and that is that a plat dies 1,000 deaths before it's finally recorded.
that
And
makes sense.
on a daily basis, certain things happen, and you say, "Well, this isn't going to work." You stay up all night, and you come up with the solution the next day. I'm going to try this. So
Okay.
it takes persistence.
I think most people don't do the wake up the next day and move on with it.
Eternal
When
optimist.
so you got the eternal optimist. What's one of the biggest fears or things that made you hesitate to get started?
Um, I guess the it has a way of educating you. Uh, I still own a couple properties today that I should never closed on, and you take a risk on closing something before you get the entitlements, and so you end up getting educated, and sometimes the tuition for that class is very expensive.
Yeah, the Cody and Christian call that the idiot tax. And I've paid the idiot tax a few
Yes,
times.
yes, yes.
Yep, lesson learned. Hopefully, I'm a slow learner.
My biggest lesson was 50 acres down on the Deschutes River in between Olympia and Tumwater.
No,
And
I'm probably the guy that breaks on and swims in the shoots. Just
that's
so you're
it.
aware.
Actually, this has been known as a park. When I tried to take it and put it into 5 acre parcels, the first time I ever heard the term mitigation, and that is that the county of Thurston says, how are you going to mitigate our interest in having it as a park? I said, tell me what mitigation is. And their suggestion was is that I put a 200-foot corridor along the river that the general public has access to. And then I'm trying to sell these 5 acre parcels to people for the privacy of owning riverfront.
And what do you think of their suggestion?
Well, I says, I'm not in a position of stopping you. In fact, I get a little bit of a reward knowing that maybe I had something to do with creating a park. So we went ahead and I closed on it, and they told me that they didn't have the money now, but we would have the money in the next couple of years, and that we'd buy it then. And I said, I'm not looking for a big profit. Make a return. I'm on my way. Well, 1991, they came up with the Growth Management Act, and the river became the line between what is expansion in Thurston County for Olympia on one side and Thurston County on the other. And then the county came to me and said that we no longer can buy it because one day it's probably going to be in the city. And then in turn, they I went to redevelop it, and because of setbacks from wetlands, I mean, I had overlapping, so nowhere land. But anyway, that that was very expensive. But little ego was gets hurt and you move on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you started with good intentions,
Yes,
and then things change.
yes.
There are a couple of the people that I've talked to are doing developing or building, and I have a lot of respect for that. It is not something I have the ability or patience to
Well,
do.
and I've had the good fortune of starting in the 70s of developing land. And I went through Duval, Carnation, Fall City, then down to Pierce County, Tenino, and kind of worked all the way. My last exit was in King County, and it's hard to go back there again because the way they beat us up. And I still have scars from that one. Although the property ended up being the home course for University of
Okay.
Washington National. So some good things came out of it, but wasn't to me.
Yeah. Well, a lot of good memory ties to the community.
There you go.
And it can be all back in the 70s or the 80s or 90s, but was there ever like an aha moment where you realized real estate was going to be what you were interested in?
Yes, back in 1977, uh, that put me at like 23 years old, 22. I bought a house in March of 77. And in March of 79, it went from 28,000 to 68,000. And so I kind of got hooked in.
Yeah, so a big appreciation
Yeah,
come
yeah,
kind
yes,
of
yes,
told your brain
yes,
you
yeah,
can work and you can work overtime or you can just own something
yeah.
and
And I
okay.
was dividing up some property out in Duval. And when I started out, my goal was to get 19,000 plus minus on 5 acre tracts. And by the time I was done with the development during that same time period, I was selling for 35.
Awesome. And in 1970 or 1980, 35,000 is a
That's
significant
yes,
amount.
yes, yes,
That's
yes, yes,
hundreds of
yes, yes, yes.
yeah. Um, when did you find the one rental at a time community?
Well, actually, I've during COVID, it's that was probably an adjustment period of where you always want to jump in and help with something. They should tell you what you're going to need to do is stay home. Don't go anywhere. And so that's when I found podcasts.
Ah, you found podcasting. Great.
And actually, I've had the good fortune of following some people that to include Jason Hartman, and actually did join with him with the collective with Ken McElroy,
Oh, nice.
and so it's uh, that helped me hone in my confidence.
Okay. Yeah, Jason Hartman is presenting
Yes,
at this event. I'm
yeah,
super excited to
yeah,
see him
yeah.
here. Uh, since finding one rental at a time, you've been investing for a while and you have a lot of experience.
Yes.
Can you think of anything that your like your mentality or your strategy has shifted at all since finding the community?
It's one of the things that I probably have been helter skelter on what the next shiny object's going to be, and I've done lot had a contractor's license, and actually had a shed business that did them on a rental basis, and I was building condos in Chelan at the time, and I was renting them, and I thought this is a pretty good business, and so got into that. So,
Yeah.
and but and actually, the one of the things I learned from that was that a little bit of uh, the what business is McDonald's.
Right. That's one of my favorite lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and that was just so. I mean, I ended up with uh, three properties that I used for displays that they paid for it, and then in turn I ended up selling from made more money off of the properties than I did off the shed business.
Nice. And if so, if anybody is watching that hasn't read Rich Dad Poor Dad and isn't familiar with that, what business is McDonald's in?
Real estate business.
Right. Most people would say hamburger business.
That's it. They have a niche that they can go and buy the. Uh, there's hardly a price that they can't pay for the right location.
For the right location. Yep. So I've got two more questions. The first one is, and this is probably going to be the hardest one. What do you think your life would look like if you never invested in real estate?
I wouldn't know me.
You would know, yeah.
I wouldn't know me. I mean, and actually, jokingly so, I take the position that my mom was a responsible gambler, bingo, casinos, and I got that gambling niche to where even right now I should have retired many years ago, but making money never gets old.
That is a t-shirt. Making money never gets old.
Yeah.
I like it. I love it. And then the last one, if you had an opportunity to be alone in a room with Michael Zuber,
Yeah.
who put the One Rental at a Time community together, what advice would you give him? Because you've been here so many years, uh, to have more impact with One Rental at a Time.
You know, I'll first off say that it's hard to find flaws in him. I mean, the guy's such a
Agreed.
giver.
Yeah.
And yet I observe people and try and figure out, and if there's anything that he's ever done that wasn't quite as classy as maybe should have been, because
Okay.
he's always classy, is that a couple times he's taken a shot at Ken McElroy.
Yeah, so there was the very first one at COVID when Ken McElroy said, we see a 40% crash coming because the world shut down.
Yeah.
And Zuber said, I bet you 10 grand. And so I remember that one. But I've seen him do interviews with Ken.
No, and I'm sure they're good friends, and maybe Ken doesn't even recognize, but twice there was some comment that obviously Ken McElroy's superhuman.
Right, oh, exactly. I agree.
Yeah, and yet he's made a couple mistakes on commenting on taxes,
Okay.
and Zuber called him on it.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, that's good information to have
Yeah.
because I'm a Ken McElroy fan.
Yeah.
What I really like about Ken McElroy is he has over 10,000 units and he's big into assets I don't invest in.
Okay.
But he has decades of it. Like I would love to sit and have lunch with you. Like I would talk to you for and learn so much, right?
Yeah.
I would do the same with Ken McElroy.
Yeah.
But he does his podcast with his wife, who is younger and only has, I think last count was three, maybe she has four rentals.
Yes.
And when you blend their information together,
It's
and
they work off each other.
it takes his knowledge, but it teaches somebody who's not doing his strategy. Like I learned from him, even though I have no desire to own what he does. So yeah, it's great.
And actually, Daniil has evolved. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, they were just dating when first met him when I was in the collective.
Yeah,
And,
when the podcast started, they weren't married yet.
right,
Yeah.
right, and actually now um, she's gained confidence almost to the position where in some areas she feels that she's as equal or more of an authority than he
Right.
is, and it comes out in there. It's
And it does.
of good to see them have a bantering back and forth, and it's just a little bit of humor.
I agree. All right. Well, I hope to see you in 2027.
Okay.
I hear this event's going to be going on a few years.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Mike, and I live in Washington, so at some point we should.
yeah. No, I've tried to hook up. I actually in the same want to meet Cody since he deals
It's right around the corner from you. Yeah.
yeah, and that he's and actually used to do quite a bit of work down around the canal there. In fact, did one of the very first timeshare condominiums called Blue Heron, just up from Alderbrook there.
Okay.
That was breaking ground back in 76, 75, somewhere there.
Nice.
So I got started early and
Ran with it. Yeah.
well, kind of one of your statements. You can't be in real estate for 50 years without
start early.
That's you're drinking one. If you
That is my drinking. But yes, you can't drink all day unless you start early.
Yeah,
And that's a great way to relate it to real estate.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
One last question I had is that you've been very informative and the way you've taken things in stride with management and the way you've actually saw some positive and negative things like rent control.
Yep.
But I just noticed that you're looking for a new place to go other than Washington. And what brought that to a head?
So it's hard to answer that in a real estate podcast because it's not really related to real estate.
Okay.
I'll be transparent. I have nothing to hide. I like rent control as a landlord. I fought against it for 2 years in Olympia. I went and sent videos to legislators saying, look, it's going to punish tenants. It's going to make me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So as a landlord, sure, but you're hurting tenants. Rents are going to get pushed up. More tenants will get pushed out due to rehab, sale, or move in. And screening criteria gets higher, like all of the negatives that happen, they didn't care. It took 2 years, it got passed. So yeah, I'm making just currently this year $3,300 more a month because of rent control than I was going to.
Yeah.
And that's just this year. Last year it increased too. So that's not the negative. Real estate, the fear is for me, it's the liberal mindset. And it's not that I'm like ultra conservative, like I think same-sex marriage is fine. I think, but it's just the protest anything for any reason and not even know why. And next week it's something different. The insanity is too strong for me. And so my real estate's fine. I'm gonna move probably. I'm gonna sell one or two of my either frustrating or most equity trapped properties and redeploy in a I don't care about the real estate, but more friendly to me type of state. I mean, Washington State just passed in the last couple of years. There's a $150,000 down payment assistance program that gets forgiven as long as you're not white. And yeah, they say it's because you're disenfranchised, but it's because you're not white. And they just passed one where you get help running a business as long as you're not a white male. So all females are covered. Everybody of any color is covered. And so that state hates me. Why would I stay? I'll keep my rentals there. I'll make a ton of money. I'm great with that, but that's why
Well,
I'm leaving.
I mean, how do you, in the wildest dreams, how can citizens overtake a police department?
Right, the Chaz in Seattle.
Yeah, yeah, and how you can call that summer love?
Correct. With the summer of love with over 500 riots and 22 deaths, and every
Yeah.
moron out there says, well, what about January 6th, where they walked through some buildings? So yeah, I mean, I got a political point. Zuber can edit this out of the video if he thinks of it. Uh, but yeah, thanks for the question. That's
All right.
that's why, and it sucks. I've got friends and family in Washington. Uh,
Mhm.
I think some
I
of
mean,
them.
after the development experience that I had in King, Pierce, and I can't go into a jurisdiction west of the mountains without opening my checkbook, talking to them for $150 an hour, and I can go to a small town like Ephrata, and they've never asked me for a dime, and happy to see me. So,
Yeah, no, this same thing. Even though I've had some trouble with Port Orchard, Washington, as far as a permit office goes, you can walk in, they talk to you, they're super friendly.
yeah.
My issues were with the permit process, not the people there. But yeah, so I
One
like.
and unfortunately, all the past experience brings me into the new experience, and you get to see things that other people haven't seen, or because they haven't. For instance, I bought and flipped a property in West Seattle that had a divided the garage off, ended up in a 30 by 100-foot lot.
Okay,
Sold it for 475. Went and bought 55 acres joining some other property within the city limits of Ephrata for the same price.
that's a very different market. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Who would want that? One of those location.
yeah, awesome.
Well,
Well,
appreciate
thank you
it.
so much, Mike.
All right.